telcos continue to leverage public cloud platforms in a multitude of different ways. But so far, most of these moves have been for very particular parts of an operator's systems or functions, such as OSS or BSS tools. But in a dramatic move, US operator Dish recently announced it would be running all of its network functionality, including its core and radio access network, on AWS platforms. To discuss this groundbreaking move, I'm talking with public cloud evangelist Danielle Royston, founder and CEO at TelcoDR. So, Danielle, last month Dish announced a very deep partnership with AWS. Why was this such a big deal?
I think calling it a big deal is an understatement. I mean, this was huge. It's everything I've been talking about and evangelizing, and it's happening now. I think this news represents the breaking of the old school thought pattern where it's not just a chunk of Dish's IT systems or some of the core network functions for a particular market segment. It's everything. It's the most complete use of the public cloud for a telco to date, and it proves you can do way more on the public cloud than what people think. And so I'm obviously super excited about it. I think it's great news, and it's something that I think the entire industry should keep their eye on.
Now, why is this news different from other announcements we've seen made from carriers moving to the cloud?
So for me, at least from what it seems like, just reading the materials that are publicly available, this is full public cloud. It's the first time a telco has moved its whole business to the cloud. And again, not just, like you mentioned in the intro, not just BSS, right? It's RAN and it's core. And so I think why it's a big deal and it's why it's having such a big impact in the industry is that I think there's still people who were thinking this would never happen or it would take years and years. I think those people now have to rethink those decisions, right? No one expected a major network in the United States, one of the biggest networks in the world, would be built on AWS. Right. And so I think there's a lot of anti-cloud people out there that said, never. But there will be cities in the United States that will go live this year in 2021. And so, again, I think it's something to watch. And for those naysayers, I think it's something for them to understand and maybe rethink some of their negativity about the public cloud.
And what insight do you think Dish had that others have yet to realize?
I think Dish realized that by partnering with AWS, they can have a dramatically better product for their subscribers, and they can do it dramatically cheaper. I believe one of the metrics that they threw out on their earnings call that was a few weeks ago was that they're building the entire network for $10 billion. And so back to talking about offering a better product, let's start with enterprise, where cloud computing is taking over IT departments. I mean, I realize in telco we're laggards, but in general enterprise, they've really adopted public cloud. And so if you're building enterprise applications and your big pitch for those departments is that enterprises can now build low latency applications nearby, you have to be in that public cloud paradigm because that's where enterprise IT departments are building their applications, are building with the public cloud. And so you need to be offering them outposts and wavelengths. You have to provide a known standard tech stack. And so I think telcos who are ignoring the public cloud or they're building their own private cloud will shut out enterprise IT who have been very clear they're moving to the hyperscalers. And I think for consumer markets, every consumer wants more bandwidth at a cheaper price. And so when you don't have these huge depreciation charges because you're building your network for less than 10 billion, you can offer your product for a cheaper price and have higher margins. And I think that's a really big insight. And I hope people really sort of think about what I'm talking about here, especially as it relates to enterprise IT.
What does this mean for telcos that are not yet moving their systems to the public cloud?
Yeah, I think for those guys, if they're still deploying on-premise or on, as I like to call it, fake cloud, I think it's really simple. I think it means for those other telcos, they need to realize that their 5-year CapEx decisions, they're doomed to be a write-off the day they make it. I think it's that simple. And this was something I put out on Twitter. A lot of people picked up on this comment. I think this comment was placed in 5 different articles. It's a very big aha moment for people in terms of, you're making these CapEx decisions that are 5 years long. And they're essentially a write-off. I think it stops CFOs in their tracks to sort of double think what's going on here and should we approach this in a different way? Yeah.
Now, this overall is a real ballsy move from Dish. How will we ultimately know if Dish is successful?
I think, I think why they're doing it, at least for me, when I look at the news and all of the announcement, I believe they think that they can underprice their competitors and drive higher margins. We all will be able to look at their pricing plans and what they're offering their customers, and we'll be able to look at their margins once it's deployed. That won't be hard to do. I think you can also look at the quality of service, kind of what are the consumers saying about their experience. But in my experience, most public cloud solutions, when built right, are both cheaper and drive higher margins. And so I believe this should be really easy to tell. And so we should be able to just do some math and listen to the qualitative response. Yeah. So let's watch it and see what happens. I think everyone should keep an eye on this. Yeah.
Well, I think everybody in the industry is watching what Dish is doing and how it will perform, and we'll be finding out soon enough in the next few months. Danielle, as ever, great to talk to you. Thanks for joining us today.
Great to talk to you, Ray. Thank you so much.